Hey everyone, happy All Saints Day, and thanks for coming back to my channel. I'm going to make some changes. I've changed the lighting a little bit, so hopefully you guys can see better. Keelan, if it's not good, just shoot me a text or send me a message on here. So first change I've made, besides lighting, is changing my name. I've changed it to Trucker J. Perhaps you saw my silly little short with my Scream mask, where I dubbed myself Trucker J. So yeah, the reason I did that is because there is apparently a trucking company called Crazy 8 Trucking. I thought it was a great name for a YouTube channel. I still do, and I still wish I could use it, but obviously I don't want to steal anybody's thunder. So Crazy 8 Trucking, great name. I apologize, won't happen again. So yeah, anyway, I thought that was kind of frustrating and funny. Anyway, what else was I gonna say? Holy crap. I've got it written all up here in an outline, and I still am stumbling over myself. Stage fright, I guess. So anyway, I wanted to tell you a joke my papa told me a little while back. My papa is also known as my grandpa. That's an endearment term I've had since I was a little kid for him. But anyway, he was one of the biggest inspirations for me becoming a truck driver. I mentioned that in one of my earlier videos. And so anyway, he told me this story. He said he came up on a wreck, and there were 3 vehicles tangled up with each other. And he walked up to them to see if anybody was, if everybody was okay. And of course they weren't. All 3 of them were dead. And he just looked up, and he saw them. They were all 3 kind of standing in the light at the gates of heaven. And and St. Peter looked at the Baptist preacher. Gosh, I didn't even tell you. Wow, I butchered this. Holy crap. So the 3 guys were a Baptist preacher, a Catholic priest, and a truck driver. And they're standing up there at the pearly gates. And St. Peter looks at the Baptist preacher, says, "What have you done with your life?" And he said, "Well, Peter, that's St. Peter. Okay, St. Peter, I have totally spent as much as I can of my life, preaching the gospel. And of course I've sinned. Everybody does. But once saved, always saved, right?" And St. Peter said, "Okay, just stand right over here." And the Catholic priest said, "Well, what about me?" And "Just calm down," St. Peter said. "Come on over here. Tell me about what you did." And the Catholic priest said, "Well, I've spent much of my vocation, first few years were rough, but I spent much of my vocation just basically being a good priest, faithfully fulfilling the duties that I promised I would." And St. Peter said, "Okay, stand over here. Stand over there with the Baptist preacher." "Okay, I guess I will." The trucker gets up there, and St. Peter's like, "Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So tell me about yourself. I already know your name is Joe." "Yeah, well, I honestly would like to go to heaven, and I do believe in God, but I ain't lived the best life. Full of vice, drinking and smoking weed and going into truck stops that have bars, getting into fights and all that. I occasionally tried to talk to people about the Lord, and I did say my prayers every night and try every day to start over." St. Peter said, "Come on in." Baptist preacher and Catholic priest said, "What about us?" Kind of in unison. And St. Peter said, we'll get to you. We haven't figured that out." And he said, "But anyway, this guy here, Joe, he scared the hell out of so many more people than you did. So we're just going to go ahead and let him on in." So that's one of those silly things that my papa would tell me. He told me all kinds of stuff. He never knew what he was going to tell. So I've told you about the name change, and I've told you about Papa. So I'm going to get back to a little bit more of... I meant to be so much more organized with this, but a little bit more of why I want to do this YouTube channel. Certainly it's a saturated subject. I've spent a little bit of time today just kind of browsing and looking at all the trucker channels, and my gosh, there's so many, and it's kind of daunting, and and frustrating, but that's fine. I'm here basically to cut my teeth on it and try to spread my creative wings, as it were, and for catharsis, because I tend to get pretty anxious out here by myself, and with too much time for my thoughts to run away with themselves. And this gives me something to think about, something to spend some time on, be a little productive. I also want to tell my Uncle Joe Coon, the reliability man, I really appreciate it that you have pushed me to start this YouTube channel. I definitely have wanted to start something like this, but due to stage fright and procrastination, I always end up just putting things off. And you gave me that nudge I needed to move on with the plan and move on with some other things. If any of you people want some great advice, want to hear some thoughts from a really great mind, my Uncle Joe has his own channel. He's had it for about 2 years, and he's a retired engineer, and a lot of his videos have to do with engineering and reliability and maintenance. But he has I've found that watching his videos they really apply to so much more than just that. And he's got some great financial advice. He retired early. So please go check him out if you got the time. His name is Joe Coon. You can type that in, Joe Kuhn, or type in Reliability Man. I think either one of those will bring him up. So you're welcome, Joe. Next, my next upload is going to be answering questions. Like my sister and some other people have asked questions on here already, and I'd like to make a video specifically addressing those. If I don't do that next, it'll be just the pros and cons of trucking, kind of my perspective on it. Gosh, there's something else I'm forgetting, and that's kind of annoying. Hell, I can't remember it because I'm scatterbrained, and apparently I didn't write it down. So anyway, like or dislike, leave a comment, leave some hate mail, share it, or just disregard and never come back. I don't care. Really, I do care, but I don't want you to feel like you're wasting your time. If you are still interested in following me, you can also add me on Facebook. I'm going to be changing my Facebook page to public so you can find me. My name on there is J. Michael Adams. Adams with 2 D's, by the way. And with that, keep it out of the grass and keep the bears off your butt. I'm out. Trucker J.